Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Chaos, and welcome to my underrated or overrated ranking list. So, I messed this up originally when I was trying to explain it, so I'm going to try to do so here. So, if it is a 1, I think that means the character is very, very underrated, and a lot of people don't give the character enough credit. If it is a 5, that is usually that there is not really an opinion I have, or that a lot of other people just acknowledge it enough. And a 10 is either a character that is either overly loved or overly hated that I just completely disagree with. So first we're going to be looking at Warden, and I'm going to give him a 8. So he is a very overrated character in terms of his character. His character is cool. I like the design of Warden and all that, but his playstyle is very bland. I get why people love him, but people complain about, bash spam and all this stuff on all these other characters, but Warden, they just kind of overlook it, and I'm not going to overlook it, so that's why I gave him an 8, but still a very good character, and I do agree that he is a cool character. Alright, so for PK, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to give her a 5. I know some people don't like her, some people think she's weak, some people think she's really strong. In 1v1, she's very strong. In Dominion, I don't know. I don't really see much PKs really get value. So I think that she's just kind of a middle-of-the-road character for me. Not really anything good or bad to say about the character, but definitely a fun character to play. Alright, so for Centurion, I'm going to give him a 6. Also, I think that 6 is a good place because obviously he's a very liked character. His voice lines are great, his executions are awesome, and the character's kit is just fun to use. But I think he's a little overrated because I think that people kind of go a little too crazy for him in my eyes, but definitely a cool character, and I can see why people love him. Alright, BP, he's a 10 with overrated. This character is absolutely annoying, and if anybody says otherwise, I'm sorry. The character has unblockable, undodgeable, just the bullcrap flip, and Oathbreaker is ridiculous. Like, the character's way overrated. It's honestly just boring to fight, not fun to play against. And I get, like, I believe that people that play him are usually just playing him because he's a very easy to win ganking character. Alright, Griffin. So, I'm going to give Griffin a 4. I don't see Griffin's enough. I think he is underrated. He's still very strong in the right person's hands. But if you're just side dodging all the time and getting crapped on, that's your own fault. He's definitely a good character, but you have to know what you're doing, so I think 4 is a nice spot for him. Alright, so for Conqueror, I'm going to give him a 3. I don't think that he's as weak as everybody makes it out to seem. Definitely needs a rework, but he's definitely strong in the right person's hands and is very annoying if the right person is using him, so I think that he is underrated, but definitely in need of a rework. So for Lawbringer, I'm going to be honest, I'm giving him a 7. And the reason why is because he looks cool, definitely, but the play style is what holds it back now. His play style is very, watered down from what it used to be. I think that he's a bit too safe now in my eyes, and this comes as somebody that actually likes playing him. But yeah, the side dodge iframe bash and just the bash spam now is excessive. But I don't think that, it makes him too overrated. I don't think that he's, like, crazy. But, yeah, 7, I think, is where he fits. So for Gladiator, I'm going to give him a 5. And the reason why is I've heard things where some people think he needs to be reworked. Some people think he needs nerfed. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that there's anything wrong with Gladiator. I think that he's definitely annoying because of the toe stab spam. But everything's pretty reactable to. I haven't really found any issue with him, and I think his drip looks pretty decent, but yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on him. I don't think there's anything wrong with him that needs to be changed. Just overall decent character, 5. Warmonger, you guys are going to hate me for this one, but she's way overrated. She's a 10. She's actually a 20 in my eyes. This character gets so much love, and I think that the character's honestly annoying. The playstyle is ass. It's not fun to fight. I don't get why she has bleed on her bash, and then people want to, complain about other characters' bashes. It's just the impale on heavy, stupid, and her motivation in the story is just ridiculously dumb. To me, this is just some like, edgy teenager character that I can't get behind. Raider, I'm gonna be honest. I think Raiders is pretty valid. He's a 5. He's not overrated. The character's playstyle can be annoying, but nothing's unreactable or annoying. Obviously, I get why people like to play him. Big beefy dude. So I don't really have much to say about Raider. Cool character. Definitely understand the love for him. So yeah, he's a 5. So for Berserker, I'm giving him a 5. While Berserker can be annoying, I really just, after his nerfs, I've really not ever had a problem with him. The deflex can be annoying, but it's not anything that I really think is, too crazy to, complain about. So yeah, I'm just going to give him a 5. So for Highlander, I'm going to give him a 7. And the reason why is because people that main Highlander glaze this character to no end. It's not that he's bad or good. It's just that the character is annoying, and he is a lot more annoying than almost every other character in the game because his ability to feint his heavy into a kick and then even into the grab. He can also do that chase grab. He's just a very annoying character, and the Highlander mains don't necessarily like to acknowledge that, so that's where I give him a 7. So for Jormungandr, I think he's slightly underrated. I know a lot of people think he's weak, but I think in the right person's hands, he's very, very strong. So I'm going to give him a 4 for being underrated. He's not like criminally underrated, but I do think that a lot of people give him, don't give the character enough credit for how annoying it can be in the right person's hands. All right, so for Warlord, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he deserves as much hate as he does, but I don't think he's criminally underrated. So I'm going to give him a 7. I agree with people that the hyper heavies can be annoying as well as the push can be annoying, but everything is very reactable on him. I don't find it to be too crazy. The hate for him is just way too overrated. I think that if people would stop swinging as much, and this just kind of applies to every hyper armor character, is people would stop swinging like a dingus, he wouldn't be as bad of a character to deal with. All right, so for Valkyrie, I think this character's underrated. I don't hear a lot of people complain about it, so I'm gonna give a couple complaints here that I have. The character is usually played light spam full guard, which it's just how the character is. It's boring to fight. Very strong in general in my eyes, but the biggest problem I have is that sweep. The sweep, nobody talks about half the time, and it just seems like it tracks. It's very hard to pin down correctly, unlike Shaolin's at time. So, and it can also be done off of a guard break. So, yeah, she's a 3. I think she's kind of underrated, but that's just me. All right, Shaman, I've heard both sides of this. I absolutely can't stand this character because this character is usually just zone cancel into the light that is almost unreactable, especially if you're on Xbox. I've never been able to consistently react to this stupid light. I think the character, her bite is way too overtuned because it does 35 damage, and it just... Getting bleed is not hard with this character, and usually it's ran with another bleed character. So I think this character is way overrated. I'm giving it an 8. I think this character is just annoying. I do not think it's underpowered, and I know that some people think she needs some type of buff. I don't think she needs any buff. All right, so for VG, it's a 5. There's not a single thing that has been said about this character that has not already been said. All the hate is warranted. This character is just bad game design, bad character in general, needs a full rework, and needs to be less annoying. So for Kensei, I really don't have much to say about Kensei. The character's pretty balanced. Not many things are unreactable. The soft feint heavies into lights are kind of annoying, but ever since the side dodge heavy changes, where it's now a light parry, he's kind of just been put in a middle place where there's not much you can complain about with him. If you're losing to this character, it's kind of your fault. So for Orochi, he is a 9, and this is because there is 2 playstyles on this character. you've either got the good players that are usually playing the character very well and not egotistical A-wipes, and then there's the other people that are very obnoxious that just spam a lot of undodgeables, they spam Storm Rush, and when they beat anybody with it, they act like they just did something of value, which I don't see undodgeables as skilled, that's just me. But yeah, this character is incredibly overrated by the people that play him, and I've met one of the old #1 Orochis before, and the dude had an ego to the moon. So yeah, he's a 9. All right, so for Shinobi, I gotta give him a 5. I've not really heard any, complaints about him that are not, true. And I don't think that anybody thinks he is weak. He's just an annoying character that everybody knows is annoying and is just a very generic, easy, spam-based character. So, yeah, he's a 5. All right, so for Hitokiri, I'm going to give Hitokiri a 10 for all the hate being overrated that's given towards this character. The character is boring. Yes, a lot of stuff is obnoxious with the character, but nothing is unreactable. The character, I think, is actually very weak because if you know how to fight a Hito is useless. So, yeah, I really don't have much to say, and anybody that wants to complain about the one-shot, if if you do correct timing, you can dodge it, you can parry it, and a lot of people don't know this, but if you have revenge and you time it right, pressing Y to activate your revenge will knock him on the ground. So, yeah, that's all I can say about Hito. Definitely overrated with how much hate it gets. All right, for Sohei, I really don't know what to really rank this character at, so I'm going to put him at a 5, possibly a 6, and the reason why is the heavy parry into one shot is definitely annoying, and maybe you could argue with, being able to get his souls off of a breach bot, a breach officer, but I don't really have much an opinion on Sohei, and I don't really see people complain about him too much, so I'm going to give him a 5, maybe a 6. Alright, so for Shigoki, I have 600 hours in this character, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think he gets a little too much hate. I'm going to put him at a 7 for how much hate he gets, and that's because he is not that overpowered in terms of how his kit is. His charge heavy, while yes, the variable timed are annoying, if you do a full charge heavy, it's very easily parried once somebody knows the timing on it. His side dodge headbutt, if he whiffs it, he can be guard broken. If the person throwing a heavy and you do side dodge headbutt, they can cancel it and light you and hit you, or they can just side dodge it and then guard break punish you. So I do think he is definitely annoying, and in gank fights, the hate is deserved for people that just sit there and hug spam, but I don't think he's as broken as people think he is, so yeah, I'm going to give him a 7. Alright, so Nobushi, I'm going to give a 7, and the main reason is a lot of people try to say that her lights are easily parried. That is partially true. I've gotten better at them, but they're very hard to do on console consistently. She does kind of fall to hyper armor if you know what you're doing, so I don't think she's like too overrated, but I do think that some people hate her a little too much. Aramusha, I'm going to give him a 5, and that's mainly because right now I can't give too much of an opinion on him. His change is definitely very strong, but I still don't think he's very, it changes his kit where it's like so dang crazy. Once people learn how to react to it again, I think that he'll kind of go back to where he was, so I'll just give him a 5. Alright, Kyoshin, this is a hard character, I'm going to be honest. I gotta give him a 5, and that's just because most people hate him, and it's deserved. The character's just boring to fight, not really fun to play in my eyes, and the people that play him just kind of spam, so yeah, I'm just gonna give him a 5 and say that everything is kind of deserved that people complain about him with, so yeah. Hyundai, I'm gonna be honest, I don't hear much people complain about this character or really, praise this character, so I think he gets a 5. There's not really much things you can complain about Tiandi. He's, you can deal with a lot of the stuff he has, and most of the time, if you can't deal with him, that's kind of your own fault, so yeah, I'll just give him a 5. Alright, for Nuxia, I think I'm going to give her a 3, and that's because I do think that she can be a very annoying presence, but at the same time, she is very weak because the traps are very easy to deal with, so I don't really have much to say. Like, she's got a deflect, and her heavy that if it does catch you, she can like drag you and wall splat you. So she's got a good kit. I just think that the traps are kind of just iffy. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a 3 because she can be very annoying. Zanhu, you don't really see Zanhu. He's very basic. Very fun character though. Like with him being basic. My only issue is that a lot of Zanhus that play him tend to just light spam, and that's because the second light is unblockable, so I can't really complain about him, but I can't really say he's broken, and I don't really ever hear somebody complain about him besides his side dodge heavy, which, mind you, that's just mainly people not being able to react to it, and I'm going to be honest, it's kind of weird at times, but yeah, I don't think there's an issue with Zanhu, so I'm going to give him a 5. Alright, so I think that Jang Jun is a 4, and the reason why is I don't think that people give the character enough credit for being strong with his backstep, be able to regain stamina, as well as the choke draining your stamina, and him being able to just, cancel a hyper heavy into a light. If I'm correct on that, I might be wrong about that one, but anyway, I do think that the character is a 4. I think that he's slightly underrated, but nobody really complains about him or, kind of give the character enough credit. So, 4. All right, so for Shaolin, I'm going to give him a 5, mainly because it's the same way with Shinobi, is that everybody acknowledges this character's annoying. He's highly used because of all the undodgeables and just the kick, as well as his feats being able, the teleport and all that. But, yeah, there's not really much you can say that hasn't been said about this character, just like Shinobi, but yeah, he's a 5, and that's where I'm just going to leave it. All right, Pirate. This character, everybody complains about. This character's obviously annoying. I don't like how it has hyper, and you can cancel a hyper unblockable in just guard break and all that. It's obnoxious. It's a 5. Everybody complains about this character, and there's not many people that says the character's balanced, so I'm just going to give it a 5, and because everybody's acknowledged it. Afira, this one is one I disagree with a lot of people on. Besides her 2 feats where she can grab you, I think this character is meh. Like, I'm going to give this character a 8 in terms of people thinking this character's a lot more broken than it actually is. Yes, she does have a very strong punish, but I think the character is very easily reactable to, and I don't think this character is broken. The only thing I can acknowledge that may be a bit broken besides the 2 guard breaks is straight up her ability to chase you down and you can't get away from her. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on Afira. For Khatoon, I gotta give her a 6. That's because I think she does not get enough hate on one thing of her kit. And that is when she can parry and pin you. Unlike, Shigoki and other characters, you hit her when she's impaling somebody and it doesn't stop the impale. I think that's the only thing that needs to be changed on her. I don't think enough people are talking about that. So that's all I have to say about Khatoon. Alright, so Medjay, after his rework, I'm going to be honest, I think that some people give him a little too much hate, so I'm going to give him 6 in terms of how much hate he is. He's a little overrated on the hate. And that's just mainly because most of his stuff is reactable to, and if you want to play obnoxious on him, yeah, it can work, but it normally doesn't if anybody's smart. So, yeah, I think that Medjay gets a little bit too much hate. Alright, so for Ocelotl, I'm going to give him a 6, and after thinking about it, I know some people complain about this character, but I think the only real complaint that you can give him, in my eyes, is that when you look at his feats and you look at his first feat when he gets taken out and he doesn't get executed, he can spawn back where he wants. I think that needs a nerf because I don't think that you should be able to just keep constantly coming back and jumping in. I think that it should be on like a 45-second cooldown. Increase the healing he gets in between it, so if he does end up, he'll have it once per fight, but he won't be able to just constantly come back and just be a nuisance in a gang. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about Ocelotl. Alright guys, and that was my list. This actually took a long time for me to make. Apologies if I was not clear on some stuff. This was very hard. I don't even know if the title might be right or whatever. I could have named it something else, but this is what I thought of. I hope you guys liked it. If you agree or disagree, just tell me in the comments below. I love you guys. Thank you guys for your support. Have a good night, and God bless.